The siren wailed, a mournful cry swallowed by the humid Louisiana night. Not a police siren, but the kind meant for hurricanes. And for a second, young Isaiah froze, a familiar dread coiling in his stomach. He wasn't afraid of the storm. He was afraid of what it brought out in people: the looting, the desperation, the way the unspoken lines hardened into concrete walls. He clutched the worn leather strap of his saxophone case tighter. Music was his sanctuary, the only place he felt truly free. He hurried down the narrow street, the flickering gas lamps casting long dancing shadows that seemed to mock his haste. He was late. Miss Evangeline, his mentor, a woman who carried the blues in her bones and the wisdom of generations in her eyes, would be waiting. He burst through the door of her small, cluttered house, apologizing breathlessly. Miss Evangeline Poy, seated in her rocking chair, simply smiled, her face a roadmap of wrinkles etched by time and experience. Isaiah, child, you worry too much. The music can't go nowhere. She held up a hand, stopping his further protests. Tonight, we ain't just playing notes. Tonight, we're telling a story of strength, a story of survival, a story of us. Isaiah sat opposite her, his saxophone gleaming under the dim light. He admired Miss Evangeline more than admired her. She was his anchor, his guiding star in a world that often felt determined to keep him down. His mother worked tirelessly cleaning houses in the wealthy garden district while his father was a ghost, a whisper of regret and broken promises. They began to play. Miss Evangeline on the piano, her fingers dancing across the keys with a grace that belied her age, and Isaiah on the sax, pouring his heart and soul into the melody. It was a blues song, raw and mournful, yet filled with an underlying hope. He felt the music coursing through him, washing away the fear and uncertainty, replacing it with a sense of power he rarely felt anywhere else. As they played, Miss Evangeline told him stories of her grandmother, a woman born into slavery who escaped to freedom and built a new life with her own two hands. Stories of her father, a sharecropper who fought tirelessly for his family despite facing constant injustice. Stories of her own struggles, the prejudice she had endured, the losses she had suffered, and the unwavering spirit that had carried her through. The music, she said, her voice raspy but firm. It's in your blood, Isaiah. It's the voice of our ancestors. It's the cry of our pain and the song of our joy. Don't you ever let nobody silence that voice. The storm hit harder that night. The wind howled and the rain lashed against the windows. Power lines snapped, plunging the neighborhood into darkness. But inside Miss Evangeline's house, the music continued to flow, a defiant beacon of hope in the face of the storm. The next morning, the world was a mess. Trees lay uprooted, streets were flooded, and debris was scattered everywhere. Isaiah helped his mother secure their small house, the fear he felt the previous night returning tenfold. Rumors spread like wildfire of looting and violence in other parts of the city. The unspoken lines were hardening. He went to check on Miss Evangeline. Her house was still standing, but the front porch was damaged and the garden was a tangled mess. He found her inside, calmly sweeping up broken glass. Miss Evangeline, are you all right? She smiled, a small, weary smile. I'm fine, child, just a little shaken up, but the piano's still here, and so am I. But as the days turned into weeks, the situation worsened. Resources were scarce, tensions were high, and the recovery effort seemed to be moving at a snail's pace. Isaiah saw the desperation in people's eyes, the way they looked at each other with suspicion and distrust. He saw the racial divide widening, the old wounds reopening. One afternoon, he saw a group of white men harassing a black family who were trying to salvage what was left of their home. He felt a surge of anger, but also a deep sense of helplessness. What could he do? He was just one person. Then he remembered Miss Evangeline's words. Don't you ever let nobody silence that voice. He ran home and grabbed his saxophone. He walked to the center of the street, the place where the two groups were facing off, their anger palpable. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and began to play. He played a blues song, a song of sorrow and pain, but also a song of resilience and hope. He played with all his heart and soul, pouring into the music everything he felt: the fear, the anger, the hope, the love. At first, people stared at him, confused and annoyed. But as he continued to play, something began to shift. The tension in the air seemed to dissipate. replaced by a sense of shared grief and shared humanity. The arguing stopped. The men lowered their fists. Soon others joined him. A woman began to hum along. A child started to clap. An elderly man tapped his foot. The music became a bridge, connecting people who had been divided by fear and prejudice. He played for hours until his fingers were numb and his lungs burned. When he finally stopped, the silence was deafening. Then, slowly, people began to applaud. That night he couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the scene in his mind, wondering if he had made a difference. He looked out the window at the darkened street, the same street that had seemed so menacing just weeks before. Tonight, it felt different. There was a sense of quiet, a sense of peace. The next day, he went back to the same spot and played again, and the next day, and the next. Slowly but surely, the community began to heal. People started to help each other, regardless of race or background. They shared food, water, and resources. They rebuilt their homes and their lives. Isaiah became known as the saxophone man, the young musician who had brought his community together in the face of adversity. He didn't think of himself as a hero. He was just doing what he knew how to do, playing his music, telling his story. One day, a reporter from a national newspaper came to interview him. He told her about Miss Evangeline, about his mother, about his father's absence, about the struggles he had faced. He told her about the power of music to heal and to unite. The reporter wrote a story about him, and suddenly he was famous. People from all over the country sent him letters of support and encouragement. He even received a scholarship to a prestigious music school. But he knew he couldn't leave his community, not yet. They still needed him. They still needed his music. He decided to use his newfound fame to raise money for the recovery effort. He organized concerts and benefit events. He spoke out against injustice and inequality. He became a voice for the voiceless. Miss Evangeline watched him with pride. You see, Isaiah, she said, the music ain't just about the notes. It's about the people. It's about the community. It's about the story you tell with your life. Years passed. Isaiah continued to play his music, continued to fight for justice, continued to inspire others. He never forgot the lessons he had learned from Miss Evangeline, the lessons he had learned from his own experiences. He became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can prevail. He showed the world that music can be a powerful force for change, that even one person can make a difference, and that the voice of hope, however fragile, can never be silenced. He made sure that his father's failings did not define his story. He wrote his own music, and it was loud, proud, and filled with the love of a community rising from the ashes. He used his success to bring opportunities to those who never had them, and he never forgot the faces of those he played for. Under the flickering gas lamps of a recovering city, he became the story his ancestors always knew he could be.